What's going on, friends? Logan Myerz here for Cinephellas.com, and we're here to talk about the Cloverfield Paradox. Yes, like most of us, we thought this was going to be hitting the big screen, but we're surprised on the Super Bowl that this movie was hitting Netflix right after the game took place. And at this point, I was too drunk and wanting the Patriots to lose, so I didn't really care to watch it until the next day. And with the marketing of this film, originally the movie was going to be called God Particle, but no, we were wrong. It is the Cloverfield Paradox. So what does that mean? The marketing team is like, the Cloverfield Paradox. It's going to answer all the questions and tie in all these movies. False. The first film happened 10 years ago, 2008. It was, the shaky cam found footage film. The second film, with John Goodman, was more of a suspense thriller down in the bunkers, and this is more just a straight sci-fi space thriller. These astronauts go up into space trying to solve this energy crisis. Energy is depleting from the Earth, and they're trying to figure this out to get a new source, and so we can continue with mankind and continue to live. The space station is called the Cloverfield. The main character is Hamilton. She's been through some stuff. Her kids were killed in this accident, and she's talking to her husband about going up in space to solve this energy crisis. And he really wants her to go, so he, basically she can help with mankind and move forward with the world and keeping us all alive. Hey, that's a good idea. So she's up in space with the rest of these astronauts. She's Skyping or FaceTiming with her husband down on Earth, and all this crazy shit starts to happen. This movie is like a Twilight Zone meets Alien, with, what they're trying to do, the things that are happening on the space station, and they lose signal. They lost Earth. They can't find Earth, so they're stuck up in space trying to figure out how they're going to get back to Earth, how they can find it again. There's like this ripple effect up in space that turns into a different alternate reality, different universe, alternate universe. So they're trying to figure out how they're going to get home, how they're going to get back to their homeland. In terms of character development with these astronauts, there's some pretty good performances here. Dowd was probably my favorite. He played Mundy. He was like the comedic performance, like always. He was in the IT crowd, if you guys are familiar. He's an Irish lad, and he had something happen to his arm, which is kind of funny. It reminds me of the Addams Family, arm moving around. And it really helps them figure out how they're going to get to Earth and where they can find it. And with most space films, there's always some sort of conflict between the characters up there, the astronauts. They don't like each other, and as things are not turning out the way they planned, they start to become crazy and turn against one another. With this film, it's really hard to follow. The script is kind of all over the place. It's really choppy. You don't really get a lot of answers that you really were promised in the marketing scheme of this film. It's supposed to tie it all together. This is a hard film to really wrap your head around, without reading into it or things like that. It's all over the place. And how this all takes place in the timeline of Cloverfield. If the first film happened first, 10 Cloverfield Lane, if this Paradox film is a prequel, or how it all really intertwines. And the space shots were really well done. The CGI were beautiful for a Netflix movie. It was really believable. It felt like something you would see on the big screen. The characters overall were pretty decent. I wouldn't say they were great performances, but they were pretty believable in the situation that they were in. Hamilton was probably the standout performance because she was the focal point of this story. And like I said, there's a lot of confusion in this movie. Hamilton's talking to her husband down on Earth. With the ripple effect up in space, she loses signal. She can't talk to him, but he's down on Earth while all this mass destruction is happening, all these explosions and things happening, and these blackouts on Earth, and he comes across a girl, and when he finds her by herself, he sees this huge shadowy monster from afar. So he's like, I need to get the hell out of here. I'm going to take this young girl with me. And that's really where they leave it with that story. They don't really go into much detail, just him catching a glimpse of the monster. And it's hard to say really where they're going to go with this and how this all intertwines. We do catch a glimpse of the monster at the very end of the film as the space station crashes through the clouds. We see the monster come up, and he's taller than the clouds somehow, so I don't know if that's the baby monster from the first Cloverfield or if it's a different monster, but somehow it fucking grew, and it's massive, and it's hard to miss. And that's really all they left with this film, kept you guessing and kept you asking more questions. Again, how is this all intertwined in this universe? These different dimensions and alternate universe, maybe this is how it's going to go in the next film. Maybe they're going to finally answer all these questions of where everything lines up on this timeline. But at this point, you know, it kept you guessing, and I'm still a little confused on everything. You know, this movie was a mindfuck and a clusterfuck across the board. You know, the performances were pretty enjoyable, but overall, trying to grasp the concept and trying to understand everything, you know, was a little too much. Overall, I'm going to give the Cloverfield Paradox a 2.5 out of 5 space hair pieces. So what do you guys think? Have you guys checked this out on Netflix? Did you like this movie? What's your favorite movie in the Cloverfield trilogy? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe. This is Logan Myerz up in space again. Until next time, cheers!